So this is pretty interesting. So it looks like Joe Biden was met with some progressive protesters. It looks like these are, there are basically, progressive groups on specific issues that exist. So like there's Sunrise Movement that has to do with climate change, and then there's homelessness advocates, all different sorts of problems that exist in our nation. There's sort of groups to deal with each single one of them. So this is a group that is there, and they're protesting Joe Biden, saying that his homelessness plan does not go far enough, and is basically saying that you need to go further in your homeless plan. She basically says, I got cancer and I was evicted, and that should not happen. So go ahead and check this out. We're going to come back and talk about it.
When I had cancer, I got evicted. When I had cancer, I got evicted. Joe Biden does not have a housing plan for me. We need a home guarantee. Joe Biden takes money from state real estate just like Trump. Where will I live? Shut up and listen. Shut up. Might as well be. There's a lot of the same issues that's handled the same way.
Well, you can go in and 3 minutes talk to me after this is over, because I'm going to make sure you're not the victim when I'm president of the United States. You can't.
So what's your housing plan? Where's your housing plan? We need a homes guarantee. Where's your housing plan?
Will you commit to a homes guarantee?
You got a home guarantee, man.
Where?
He's talking to
I got cancer and I got evicted. That's how they treat you. I got cancer and I got evicted. You need to make sure that the people are okay.
Second, when you meet with me after this is over, and I'll explain to you my entire housing
Why don't you tell all of us?
square. I promise you.
I've read your housing plan. It's no good. It's not enough. I've read your housing plan. It's no good. It doesn't help us.
I'm not sure. I can check, but I'm sure. What did you say? You said what? You said he's not going to meet with us after he said he would, and you want us to leave? That's what you said? I just shut down the Biden rally because we need a homes guarantee. I got evicted after I was diagnosed with cancer for the second time. His homes plan is not adequate, and we need a homes guarantee. He said that he would meet with us. He committed to a meeting, and then he put us out and had his staff deny us that meeting. Biden lies! That ain't right!
So as you see there, I thought that was a pretty good protest. I think it's a pretty valiant issue as well. Homelessness is a massive problem that we have in the United States of America, and it's an issue that needs to be talked about more, actually. And so I think it's a noble issue to be doing that, especially when you're somebody who's a victim of it, having cancer and then being evicted, of course. But what's really interesting there is Joe Biden does this. Now, this is typical when someone is getting heckled. They'll be like, let's talk about it afterwards. That's typically what happens. Like if you see Obama or someone else like that, you see those clips, those viral clips on YouTube. But the thing you see there is he didn't actually go to speak to her afterwards. Now, I actually have a theory as to what happened here. My theory is he doesn't even remember either A, he doesn't remember his own homelessness plan, or B, he was afraid of articulating himself in his homelessness plan because he knew maybe parts of it, knew he would screw up the explanation of it, or it would just come out extremely incoherently. But considering that he clearly has memory problems, it's pretty obvious to me that he probably didn't remember what his homelessness plan is. I don't think he could, tell you what his homelessness plan is other than maybe a couple of sort of buzzwords type of thing. I don't think he could really tell you anything. And she's like, why don't you tell us? And that's a good point. If Bernie had a plan, for healthcare or something like that, he would be like, here's my plan for healthcare. Here it is. He would lay it out for you. We're going to expand Medicare. We're going to improve Medicare. We're going to, end up, taking out the profiteering out of the healthcare industry, health insurance industry, all of that stuff. We're going to negotiate drug prices with pharmaceutical companies, all of this stuff. He'll break it down for you. But the fact that Biden couldn't just break it down there, and then he doesn't even show up at the end to speak to the protesters, tells me he's either A, forgotten what his plan was, or B, he's forgotten part of it, and he's like too scared to, say it in public. So a little bit concerning, but a pretty dope protest actually. So that was cool.